Welcome back to Expert BA, where we bring you insightful content to help you succeed in the world of business analysis. I'm Randall Whiteman, and today we have a topic that's absolutely critical for any aspiring or seasoned business analyst, the Stakeholder Matrix. But hey, before we dive in, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our expert insights. And remember to ask questions in the comments section. Alright, let's talk Stakeholder Matrix. Let me outline the topics we're going to talk through. Up front is importance of the Stakeholder Matrix. Next is identifying stakeholders. Then there is power and interest assessment, followed by Quadrant Placement. Then we have communication strategies, followed by continuous monitoring and adaptation. And lastly, we touch on a couple of examples. Now, let's talk about why stakeholder analysis is so important in the world of business analysis. Businesses are dynamic ecosystems, and any change can have a profound impact on various stakeholders. This is where the stakeholder matrix comes into play. A stakeholder matrix is a valuable tool in project management and business analysis. It helps organizations identify, analyze, and prioritize stakeholders based on their level of influence and interest in a project or initiative. The matrix is typically a grid that categorizes stakeholders into different quadrants based on these factors. Here are some reasons why a stakeholder matrix is important. Identification and understanding. Stakeholder matrix helps in systematically identifying and understanding all relevant stakeholders associated with a project. This includes internal and external individuals or groups who may be affected by or have an impact on the project. Prioritization. By assessing the level of influence and interest of each stakeholder, the matrix allows for the prioritization of stakeholders. This helps project managers and teams focus their efforts on engaging with and managing relationships with those stakeholders who have the greatest impact on the project's success. Communication and engagement planning. Different stakeholders have different communication needs and preferences. A stakeholder matrix aids in tailoring communication strategies for each group or individual. It also helps in planning engagement activities to ensure that stakeholders are kept informed and involved appropriately. Risk management. Understanding the concerns and interests of stakeholders helps in identifying potential risks to the project. By considering stakeholders' perspectives, project managers can anticipate challenges, mitigate risks, and develop strategies to address issues before they escalate. Resource allocation. Limited resources, such as time and budget, require careful allocation. The stakeholder matrix assists in allocating resources more efficiently by directing effort towards stakeholders who have the greatest impact on project outcomes. Conflict resolution. Conflicts may arise among stakeholders with conflicting interests. The matrix provides a visual representation of potential conflicts, allowing project managers to proactively address and resolve issues before they escalate and impact the project negatively. Decision-making support. When making decisions that may impact stakeholders, the matrix serves as a reference point. It helps in evaluating potential effects on various stakeholders and guides decision makers in making choices that align with the overall project goals. Building a solid foundation starts with creating exhaustive stakeholder lists. Techniques like brainstorming and interviews help in this process. Identifying stakeholders starts with understanding the characteristics of those stakeholders. These elements are crucial in shaping our analysis to ensure each stakeholder is properly understood and managed appropriately throughout the project or change initiative. These characteristics include level of authority, which requires understanding where stakeholders stand in terms of decision-making authority in the organisation. Attitudes and interests means examining stakeholders' attitudes towards the change and their interest in the business analysis work. decision-making authority requires determining the level of decision-making authority each stakeholder holds within the project. The stakeholder matrix is represented as a quadrant where influence, otherwise called power, is mapped on one axis and interest on the other. Before we get into the detail, I want to thank you for joining us today on Expert BA. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insights. And for a deeper dive, check out our blog article, linked in the description. Okay, getting back into the building the stakeholder matrix. Now that we have analysed the characteristics of each stakeholder and set up the matrix, each stakeholder is then assigned a quadrant based on their personal influence on and interest in the project outcome. Stakeholder dynamics can change, so regularly revisit and update the stakeholder matrix throughout the project lifecycle. Be agile in adjusting your engagement strategies based on evolving stakeholder interests and power dynamics. Tailor your communication approaches based on the quadrant in which a stakeholder resides. Use the quadrants in the stakeholder matrix to guide the frequency, depth, and style of communication to ensure it aligns with each stakeholder group. For high power and high interest, engage these stakeholders actively, involve them in decision making, and keep them well informed. For high power and low interest, keep these stakeholders satisfied but avoid overwhelming them with details. Provide periodic updates as needed. For low power and high interest, keep these stakeholders informed and involved at an appropriate level to manage their expectations. And lastly, for low power and low interest, monitor these stakeholders but allocate minimal resources to communication. To bring this to life, let's explore two fictitious examples. In the first scenario, we're streamlining IT infrastructure, and in the second, we're launching a new product line. For a detailed breakdown of the stakeholder matrix in action for these scenarios, check out the blog article. You can find a link in the description of this video. Of course, no tool is without its challenges. Business analysts often face the task of keeping the stakeholder matrix up to date amidst organisational changes. But remember, success lies in adapting to these changes and aligning engagement strategies accordingly. To wrap up, the stakeholder matrix is a valuable tool for project managers and teams to understand, prioritise, and effectively manage relationships with stakeholders throughout the project lifecycle. It contributes to improved communication, engagement, risk management, and decision making, ultimately enhancing the chances of project success. Thanks again for joining us today on Expert BA. Leave a comment and let me know your experience using a stakeholder matrix. If you found this video helpful, share it with your fellow BAs. And until next time, happy analysing.